I want to be able to take up all this tile, and at the very least take up all this tile today and cut a hole in there. Even if well, and I won't get to all of that stuff, that's a little bit later down the road. They used hardy backer. It didn't do much good because there's still leaking going on. There's still, yeah, there's some rot. So they tied into the sheetrock right here, and both the sheetrock, which is about this much, and then the hardy backer where they tied into had mold and mildew at the bottom. It is a bear to get off, I can tell you that. They did kind of a half-assed job of tiling. You know, none of the ridges are collapsed. None of the ridges are collapsed. A lot of these tiles came up in one piece. A lot of them did come up in one piece. Unfortunately, a lot of them didn't. They were being hung on by certain areas where they did get some adhesion. So I had to bust them up, and I've probably got 200 pounds worth of tile at my feet. And I'm going to take it out to here so I have a wider, I think this is 30 inches, so I have about 34, 35 inches. And it's going to be, instead of 5 foot long, it's going to be 8 foot long, because this will be the back wall. I'm going to put, not that valve, but I'm going to get a different valve. I'm going to put a valve over here on this wall. Got the wall down too, for the most part. Not good news at all. I kind of anticipated some of this, not all of this. All the termite damage again, which is not good. And these two are scabbed together. I got to see how far down it is, but yeah, literally cut out this whole section of floor in the bathroom here, in anticipation of these guys coming, the remediation crew coming on Wednesday. Just so I can get a good look at what's going on back there. From yesterday, if you remember when I cut out the hole, yeah, it's pretty bad. And this wood is all squishy too. And I don't trust it. I really don't trust it. There's a lot of damage going on, and just as I thought, and just as I talked about yesterday, I'm going to have to tie in and replace, as they did over here. They replaced some plywood inside of there. So I'm just going to take up this whole floor. It doesn't make any sense to... You know what? What really annoys me a lot? No matter who did this, they knew this floor was squishy and sagging, and they knew this floor was bad to begin with. I made it back, and I managed to clean up the best I could. This floor is coming out. I mentioned that the other day. This entire floor is coming out. Like, the only good part about this whole bathroom was where the tub was at. Where the tub was at, the plywood is relatively okay, but that's still going to come out anyway, because I have a rotted plate, which is unfortunate. So again, same termite type of damage that happened. You know, looks like it's been through a fire. Whoa, look at that. Holy crap. That just fell. Glad I wasn't standing squarely on that. These are how bad these floor joists are. That's how bad they are. It's just, it's horrific, disgusting, nasty, like just horrible. All of them. There's 7 of them that are either rotted out completely, like this one obviously did, rotted out completely, or on their way to rotted out completely. And they did some remediation with some 2x4s at one point, but of course that doesn't do any good, because there's no, yeah. And then here's the biggest issue of them all. Okay, so when I was here day one, I talked about, you know, that I would have to cut out this support, right? This plate. I would have to cut it out because it feels like it was rotted over there. And look at that, it's rotted to the core. It's just horrible rot. And then the vertical plate is rotted too. The vertical plate is like barely even there. But what did they do? They didn't bother, you see, They didn't even bother taking the vertical plate out, although they did on this plate, but you know, kind of wonky cut. But they didn't bother taking the vertical plate out. Remember where the other floor got done and the vertical plate sets about somewhere about here? So it would seem to me at some point before you hang all these floor joists, you know, and tie them into the foundation wall and all this stuff, that you would know that this is all rotted out, and you know, call me and say, hey Bob, we ran into a problem, this whole plate is rotted out down here, you know, it's a 6-foot span, so we're gonna have to replace that, and it's gonna be, you know, $150 extra or $250 extra or whatever the price is, you know, and send me a screenshot, give me a choice, because this isn't tied into anything, this is floating, this is not tied into anything. That's annoying for a lot of different reasons, but the main reason is I can't retroactively now put that vertical plate in. I mean, I could arguably, you know, if I take this piece out and cut these studs off so I can cantilever, you know, another 2x8 inside of there and cut that out retroactively. But why retroactively? Why not while you're doing the job? Why not before all these beams are here? Replace that. It's a 6-foot section. Just pull all that stuff out. I'm sure it would be easy to do. Set another, I don't know. That annoys me. Don't do a half-assed job if you're going to do a job. They're called engineered solutions. That's not a solution. This is nice. I like this. If this was your house, would you leave that wood there? No. If it was your house, would you not just scab in a piece of 8x, you know, cut off those 2x4s, do whatever you have to, you know, even cut off all 4 of those 2x4s. I can put some more in, you know, if need be, so you can get to it. Cut out the back of the wall like they did already. The siding is cut out all the way to there. Cut out the rest of the 4 feet of siding and remediate the plate. So what they did going forward, because all this was still here, if I remember correctly, they put the vertical plate, I keep forgetting the word for that, but the vertical plate, in the back and then in the front. And in the front so that I could slide my flooring up under there or get it even with this. Although it's not going to be even with that, is it? Anyway, they put some plywood up under here to take up, I think, the difference. So long story short, they kind of had to sort of do what I had expected to do, what I would have done, because that's what I would have had to do. I would have had to cut out, and I know I said this on my last video, I would have had to cut out about 18 inches of the stud and then replace the stud and sister up and do exactly what they did, because there's no way they could possibly have gotten in there without cutting off the studding, because they defaulted on not taking care of that back vertical plate. I don't know why. Am I gonna have to cut all this out? Because my flooring is gonna come in here and not meet up, because it's almost flat back there, but then it gets higher and higher. See, it should be flush-ish down here, but whatever. I'll come in here with a saw and cut all this excess 3/4 off of there so that my floor I don't know. Details, little tiny details matter. If you know what comes next, you have to remediate what comes next before you do what comes first. All right, the plan has changed. The plan has changed. There are still some issues here. I was not comfortable. There was a gap. So that gap directly had to do with that piece of plywood that I don't know why they stuck the piece of plywood in there, other than the fact that, so when they cantilevered, which was I had planned on doing, when they cantilevered, because there was no way they could get in there because they did this wrong. And this one is short anyway, but they did this wrong. See, they just guessed where the wood was going to end, and they didn't even do a good guess job of 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch over there, a full 1.5 inches, 2 inches. This is the only wood that came up to where the sill plate should have been. So, sill plate. I call it sill plate. Well, sill plate's on the bottom. The vertical sill plate, you see.
Oh, you're talking about the...
My friend Ron.
Rim joist.
Rim joist. So the rim joist, old rim joist, should have been taken out prior to putting these in. You see, and that's why these gaps are existing, because they thought, oh, well, I'm sitting on top of the block and that's good enough. But they shouldn't have done that, and that was my whole point of contention. So the only way that I could remediate that was to cut out some, as I said before, some of those probably all of them, and cantilever in the rim joist. But they couldn't do that either the way they wanted to, because they screwed up. So they had to do the exact same thing that I did, which I mentioned yesterday, and cantilever in. And why they didn't bottom out with this, I don't know, or shave off this extra ½ an inch, because there's a good part of ½ an inch going on all the way across, okay? And then they shaved down this part for some unknown reason. We decided to do, my friend Ron is smarter than me, and for that reason alone brought him in to kind of re-engineer engineering solutions mess up. So we just went ahead and cut out everything they put in. And now we're going to shave off, because that gap that existed with that plywood that was just kind of floating on here, because it would have beget something to go inside of there, or as I mentioned earlier, cut off part of that. And I didn't want to have to cut off part of that. Still, it's complicated, and I think you kind of get the gist. So what we're going to do now, since we got to shave something, is we're going to shave this down so we can put a proper floor joist, or sorry, sill plate on top of here, because it won't fit right now. All the way across, just cut that off and get it flush. All these are level, see? That's the conundrum. All these are level, so it's not like they weren't working with level block, they just weren't working with their brain. And I would love to know, I'm gonna get a flashlight and find out. I know they didn't bottom out, because all these pieces are the same size. There's no way they could get one that's ½ an inch taller. Oh, there we go. Magically appeared. Magically delicious. Yeah, it's bottomed out. There's two. Oh! You know what they did, Ron?
No.
2 6-inches.
These aren't 2x8s back there?
No.
So that rim joist is a 2x6?
Yeah. It appears that way.
If it's a 2x6,
I see a crease. There is a crease.
If it's a 2x6, then why didn't they make it level?
They ripped down. They did something, Ron. I don't know, but there's a crease. There is a crease, and I wouldn't know that if there wasn't this gap. Yeah, there's a definitive crease halfway down. So either they ripped, Ron, I don't know what they did. I really don't. And 10.5 wouldn't be the 7.5 or 7 3/4 that we're dealing with. I don't know what I have no idea what they did, but it feels like they didn't bottom this out. So we're just gonna, we're gonna fix that. We're gonna fix that. I'm very, very pleased with what we did, back here. Not so pleased with them. Hot and cold are gonna go up under here, and you know, get tied in, get anchored to the floor joist, and then they'll come up here and up here. This is not center, which kind of throws me a little bit. The valve will be a little off center, and that throws me just slightly. I thought about just cutting these out because this is not load bearing. And I got this piece, and then I got that piece cut, and everything fits like a glove. So yesterday I focused on the bathroom. I got the flooring in. I screwed this down because this is bowed the same way, so I just screwed it down, drew my lines on the floor joist, and you know, looking pretty. Got a cut around the toilet. Once I put this piece down, this piece went down, fits like a glove. This is ready to get glued and screwed. The bread trick is innocuous when it goes into your water system. It'll just dissipate. It might get caught up in your screen of your shower head, but you take the screen out, or before you even put the shower head in, you just blow out the excess soft bread. Take off some of the bread, you shove it back there as far as you can. In this case, I can only shove it so far. You push it back there. You have your elbow ready. It's already, like, all this does is buy you about a minute. And that's all I need to make that sweat on that 90, is I need a minute of no water going through there. I got rid of the POS CPVC. So the POS CPVC, if you don't know, CPVC is garbage. The sealing, to do the sealing, because it's double layer ceiling. I've got a bunch of other sheetrock work to do. I got quite a bit done today. Starting to look like a shower. I got my scabbing in the sides. I got my curb top. Oh, I got the floor in. Well, the floor was always ready to go because I cut that last week, but I've had to do a lot of stuff. So today I did the drain line plumbing, and the drain line plumbing was a little difficult. I had to do 22.5 and then another 22.5 and a 22.5 to get that straight. I'm not going to show you the bottom, but yeah, that took some time and effort. And then my 2-inch P-trap is right there, right above the drain where it should be. Oh, little FYI, when blocking doesn't work because you have pipes in the way, I've done this in the past a few times. This is 3/4 ply, but I think I've used even 1/4 ply, 3/8 ply. And I usually will put some PL glue on the sides of it. In this case, I didn't need to. It's a very tight fit. I toenailed there, I toenailed here, and it is not going anywhere. It's solid. But that's when you can't get normal blocking in there. Then, when you can get normal blocking in, but you got a little bit of pipe in the way, then you just, yeah, cut that out. I do it with a chop saw. So yeah, these are 80 pound. These are heavy. I think my other stuff is 80 pound. Anyway, it might be 100 pounds. I don't remember. Anyway, I got 4 bags of this, which I believe I'll use all 4 on this. So the pan liner will be set tomorrow. The mortar will be poured and screeded and leveled out and sloped down to the drain and all that stuff. It's already showed. And it just came out really good. I love this mortar. I just love this mortar. There's no grits of sand, you know, like I don't feel any movement of any particles of sand or anything like that. It's nice and smooth to the touch. I mean, it just works really well. So I'm glad Charlie, you know, showed me this product. And so after I gave it some thought, I said to myself, I think I got deck mud, which we don't have here in Georgia that I'm aware of. But I think Charlie sold me deck mud. I think I had mentioned, maybe I didn't, that I'm going to put in a niche light, an LED. And I've had these for some years now. I put a couple of in for customers in the past. I put Durarock down, so I have my sheets of Durarock firmly down. I have my drain glued in, exactly the height that I need it to take up for my tile and thin set. I did some repair on the sheetrock. And guess what happened? When I relieved the pressure, the bread fell out. The bread fell out from way over there. I got my shower valve finally. Finally, yay, the R22,000. I love this shower valve for a lot of different reasons. Clean my mess. For a lot of different reasons. The main reason is because they have individual shutoffs. So if you ever need to do anything to your cartridge and swap it out or whatever, you don't have to shut down the whole house. So these stops are wonderful, and every shower valve, in my opinion, should be made with that. So I got a whole bat full of insulation, and I had quite a bit of it. So as you can see, you know, I don't have to put that in there, but I still have 2 of them left over. I still have 2 full ones left over that I couldn't figure out where to use. So I used it everywhere I could, including this back wall. So again, that's not needed because that's the exterior wall and these are interior. So that'll cut down on noise a little bit, but otherwise it's useless to put them in there. Yes. So what I did is I took about half of the ceiling out because all that had to go in order for my rock to go up. Now I know it's done kind of back assward, but I don't care. It was a lot of insulation that fell down that I packed into a hefty bag, and I'm gonna have probably twice as much over here. Holy moly, did this piece of sheetrock kick my butt. My friend Ron knows a lot about sheetrock, and he suggested, like, you know, a dead man. But I couldn't get it in there because I have, you know, like a cutout over here and a cut. It was difficult. I wrestled with that board. And then Ron said to me, why don't you just cut it in half? And I'm like, genius. Jesus Christ, why didn't you tell me that sooner? Day was spent. Oh, and that fan. God, that thing kicked my ass too. Then I had to scab in. There's always something. This was not a good day. Onto my floor. And then doing all the dry cuts. Trust me, that took at least 3 hours, if not 4 of my day, to get all those cuts dry fitted first with all the measurements before I ever would even contemplate doing the tile. And yesterday I put up the rest of the ceiling. Yeah, that was a pain in the ass too. And I wired in my 2 halogen lights, which I like, and I put those on a dimmer. So yeah, those are on a dimmer. The mirror feature will go up all the way. I got all the walls up today. Half of them went up yesterday. All this is together, and I have all the pretty stuff and the valve cover and, you know, the hose thing. There'll be a towel bar over here, and the shower door goes. Oh my God, this is gonna be a show place. It's gonna be a Schluter piece trim all the way down there. I always leave that little void. It goes back to about here. I don't put no thin set, so later on I can push thin set and all the. And then it doesn't matter how wavy the wall is or anything like that. As long as my tile are flush and straight, which they are, then I just slide it in. It makes life a lot easier. But I had to piece these 2 together because I have a 6-foot long top and an 8-foot long shower. All this tile will go down on the floor, and this will all be grouted. The Schluter trim will be inside. And then the only thing left to do in here is remediate the ceiling, tape and mud. And I got some ceiling paint today. So yeah, then I need some wall paint. But this is the final product. I'm gonna go through some things really quickly. I put some blocking up here with caulking because apparently the glass is not available. There are some supply issues, and so there's no 8-foot long shower rod. So I just kind of did a notch out, so you know it was possible to have a shower curtain for the time being. So that being said, I'm also going to be respectful of privacy, so I'm not going to show any of the countertop stuff. But it is the old countertop, and it is the old toilet that got put in afterward. And this is the final product, the Delta R22000. I love this valve for a lot of reasons. This is your control mechanism for your different features. There's 2 features on here, but it will take 3. And this is your mixer, and this is your temperature control. So you can just leave that static where it's at, or you know, like you control it, whoever's there. That towel bar is on blocking, as is that little wash rag holder, as is that stuff over there for, yeah, the shower wand. That's a 16-inch extension arm, I believe. And I think there's either 3 or 4 functions on here with that button, as well as I think there's 4 functions on there with that button. And so that turned out very well. I like this little swivel thing that makes it easy to, you know, get it where you want it. But yeah, so the mirror tile I've been wanting to do for a long time, but nobody ever, you know, like pushed a button to make that happen. So yeah, it happened now. And the mirror tile gets replicated on the waterfall feature as well. And then this is Schluter trim going all the way around, and it bottoms out on top of this, which is what the curb top is. It's a black marble. And then yeah, the waterfall design with this, I forget what it's called, Boy Scout looking mirror tile, distressed, so that even if there's water staining and stuff like that, you're not going to really notice it. And then the border tile, and I think I mentioned on the other part of my video how long this took. Hours, 4 or 5 hours to dry fit all this. So all this border tile came off of a 12-inch tile, and that got cut down, I think, to 4 inches, 3 or 4 inches all the way around. And then all of the hexagon tile got put in and cut, pre-cut before it was ever put in. And the symmetry just worked out fantastically. I just love, you know, the time and effort that it took to make that symmetry, and everything flush, like there's no lippage on this, there's no lippage on this. It's just beautiful. No lippage on the walls either. And I'll show that in a second. Let me pop this drain out, because this drain cover, look how nice and neat those tile cuts are around the drain. I love that. These drain covers don't just stop hair, right? With these type of drain cuts, this one I think was bought at Home Depot. You could spend more, but there's really no point. But it has a basket, so that would trap all your garbage and hair, as well as this. So it turned out really well. This marble was actually 6-foot sections, as they always do. I call them curb tops. And I need another 2 feet. So there's a cut over here where it got fashioned in. It's right behind the toilet, which is an excellent spot for it to be, because they don't have an 8-foot length. So I did the best I could on that. As I said before, we are our own worst critic. And we're making sure, well, most tilers are making sure that there's no lippage, there's no discrepancies with the tile. Leveling clips make that happen. So there's some perks here that got added in. One of the perks is this light. Because on this switch over here that I'm going to show momentarily, I can have it on light or I can have it on night light, which turns blue. And then I think the second one is yellow, which is kind of weird. So it turns blue and yellow. There's also a fan, obviously, to that high CFM fan. If I'm not mistaken, that's a 6-inch opening. And then you can turn the fan off. And then also on here, and let me see if I can do this kind of privately. Also on here, this is, and then my lighting got put in, and it just turned out really, really awesome, as did my paint. This is on a dimmer, right? Which is cool on those two lights. And then this is what I was showing you earlier. This is the night light, straight light, fan, and then music. So if you push that button, I love that. Oh, and then by the way, there's a niche light as well. So that went onto this switch that I put in here, and it lights up blue. We have a night light here. Let me turn this off. Yeah, isn't that cool? So yeah, a lot of perks, a lot of things going on here. This is truly a $25,000 shower. There's another guy on YouTube, and you can go to Isaac Ostrom's channel if you'd like to go see that interview. I'm not going to name the guy's name because I don't think he deserves, you know, the big up. But he claimed that him and his partner did a $24,000 shower and small floor. And this is a small floor as well. Probably, what, 6 by 10 or something like that. And then the shower. And you saw all the work that was involved in that. All the work for a couple weeks that was involved in that. And his was subway tile. Much smaller tile. Much smaller footprint. And even though, yeah, they claim that they took out all the studs and had to make things level and blah, blah, blah. Same thing happened here, if you saw, right? So I'm going to go through the numbers really quick, and I'm going to post that. I'm going to show you a picture so that you'll see a $25,000 shower that was supposedly built for that kind of money, and this real $25,000 shower. So I'm going to go over the numbers real quick. Let me see, building material, it was right at about 1,700, okay? So keep that in mind, 1,700 for all the stuff you cannot see, right? That's all, the mortar, the thin set, you know, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's the building material. All the stuff that you can see, sorry, 1,500 on that, on the building material. All the stuff you can see was tile and extraneous material. Meaning that everything that you can see from the drain to the shower valve to the fixtures here to the mirrored tile to the rack to even, you know, the Bluetooth light and all that stuff. All the stuff you can see, $2,500. So $2,500, and I said 17, it might be 17, my 5 looks like a 7. Anyway, let's call it 1,700. 1,700 building material, $2,500 for all the pretty stuff. The glass is not here yet, so when they put the glass in, that's another $1,700. So $1,700, $2,500, 17, let's call that 17, and then the remediation company that did all the floor joists that you saw earlier, right? That was $4,500. Labor, $15,000. $15,000 for a little better than 2 weeks, so that roughly is about $750, $800 a day. Yeah, $800 a day to make all this happen on the labor end of it, which is good. You know, if you get a couple of those a month, you've got 30 grand in your pocket. So the total cost was $25,400. And there's no change attached to that because I always round out the change to the highest number. Anyway, enough said about that. You make the decision. Do you think this is a $25,000 bathroom shower, or do you think this is a $25,000? Because I already know the answer to that. You know, what that guy, I don't know the backstory. I have no idea. Anyway, that's bullshit. And I don't cuss on my channel, but that's straight up bullshit right there. There are some puzzle pieces missing that I'm not aware of, or that you're all not aware of, for a basic subway shower. For a basic subway shower. Even talking about, oh, we had to do the reframing and all that stuff. So what? That's like, you know, half a day, you know, 4 hours of work to do that. And so, you know, do I dispute that number that he gave? Absolutely 100%. There are exceptions to that rule, like I said before. You know, there could have been that they won the lottery, that money's not an issue. It could have been that they just didn't have any other estimates that they had gotten. There's a lot of reasons why. It could have been a relative. You know, it could have been a lot of things that I'm unaware of. Turned out very, very well. Actually, about what I had imagined it, but I don't think anybody could look at this and go, ooh, what were they thinking, you know, in 30 years from now or 40 years from now. I think it will stand the test of time. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong on that. I've been wrong before. But there you go. Put your thoughts about that in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear from you in the comment section on what you think is a proper $25,000 shower and floor, because I think that's all they did. Hey, if you enjoyed that video and you learned something, consider being a Patreon member. $5, $10, $15 a month would help me greatly produce more videos. I make nothing from YouTube at all. If you're gonna call me for advice, please donate $50 for 30 minutes. My link to my PayPal and my Patreon account is down below. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so you get immediate notifications as soon as I post videos. And thank you very much for your support.